Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss on inbuilt Blazor component, that is InputRadioGroup component. This was introduced in .NET 5 version. So in this video we are going to do some sample code for using the InputRadioGroup. So this component can be used either in Blazor server or Blazor WebAssembly as well. For this demo, I have created Blazor WebAssembly project. So that is .NET 5 version. You can see here version. Okay. Make sure because this is only available from the .NET 5 only. If you are using Visual Studio, you can use that editor, but you should have latest version like 16.8 something, because only the latest version only has compatible to compile the .NET 5 application. So here I am using Visual Studio Code. So I have using the .NET CLI command. So project is created in .NET 5. Okay. Before going any further, I want to mention that this entire session has been made as blog. You can check the link in the description below. Okay. And let's go to implement our sample. Here I am going to the pages. These are my existing pages that will come with when the project is created. This is with the default template. So let me run the application and we will check the basic output. Command is like .NET. I want to run it in watch mode. So application has successfully run and started up. Our application will listen under port numbers like with HTTPS 5001, non-HTTP 500. So let's go to browser. So this is the default application we will get with the Blazor WebAssembly template. Blazor server also looks same only, but we are using Blazor WebAssembly. Okay. So what I will do, I will do some sample codes regarding this InputRadioGroup component in the index page only. So let's go to our index page. So here I am going to do some logic regarding the implementing the InputRadioGroup button. Before going any further, first I want to create a form model class. Okay. Form model, nothing but for data binding, this class will be used in the Blazor form. Okay. I want to create a model like vehicle. For this demo, I am going to have only single property in my form model, that is like type. Okay, this is my form model where I am going to bind it in the form. So let's go to our index.razor page. Before going to index.razor page, let's import our model into imports.razor so that we can access the all the models within the model folder very easily without prefixing any namespaces. So let's add them globally in the import.razor file. So I have added globally in the import.razor file. Let me open now index.razor page. Okay. I will going to remove this existing survey prompt component and also this. So let's add some div. and a Blazor code. Now we are going to, so now let's write form, edit form. So this edit form is the default Blazor component only for writing the forms. So I have rendered the edit form. Inside of it, I am going to create the input radio group component. So this is my input radio group component. So, okay, this is my input radio group component. Now let's initialize our vehicle model in our code part. So I'm going to vehicle. I want to give some default type, vehicle type. I will name it as car. Okay, this is my default value for the car when the form is rendered. So let's bind our vehicle model to edit form. For that, it will have input property like model. To this, I am going to assign my vehicle. Okay. Now I need to bind this type. I need to bind this type property to my input radio group so that any value selected by the input radio group captures this type value, or to assign the default value to the input radio group will be taken from this type property. So for that, we have to use bind hyphen value equal to vehicle dot type. So we have model binded our input radio group. So now any value that is selected inside of the radio button will be captured by this type property. Now we need to specify the options to this input radio group. For that I am going to create a simple string list of strings. I can give types like car, bus, auto. Okay, these are the my radio options. So inside of the input radio group, let's create for each. Okay, this collection I want to use RD options, nothing but radio button options. Change it as option. Inside of it, I want to render input radio component. So this input radio component is nothing but the tail components of this input radio group. So like value property will be there where we can assign values. I will simply give options as value, and after this I want to render the option name for display. Let's give a line break for each. Okay, and yeah, that's it. We have created our simple code for integrating the input radio group. Let's display the selected vehicle type at the top for our better understanding. So H4 vehicle selected So let's check now our output. So see, refresh it again. See, by default we have given selected value as car, right? So it is selected by the radio group button, and it is also displaying the vehicle selected in the head top. So let's change it. See, selected value is displaying auto, bus, car. So this is the simple example regarding our input radio group buttons. Sorry, input radio group built-in component. So next I want to do is nested input radio group. Yes, this input radio group also supports the nested input radio group. So for that, let me take all this code for backup. Just in case only this backup, this is not mandatory. Copy entire of this into my backup file and assign the okay. Now here I am going to implement the nested input radiograph button. Uh, Before that, going into nested input radio group buttons, I want to mention that for doing a simple radio group button, I have created edit form and model for it. You may think, why can't we just uh, create input radio button directly? Because in HTML, if you want, we don't always use form, right? We simply use any input field directly without encapsulating within the form, right? Form type. You may think like that. But the problem is in Blazor, if you want to do any input field or any form field to render, you must insert it in the, what I can say, you must encapsulate with the edit form built-in component, or else it will throw error. If you want, you can just copy this and paste it here. Okay, now save it and reload the page. See, here one error is occurring. If you inspect the element, it will clearly explains. See, requiring cascading property type edit form. Okay, see here, inside of the edit form only. So always remember, when you are using default built-in form components, must and should encapsulated with the edit form components. But if you want to use like this, like normal HTML, you should have to write your own customized components. Okay. So let me get rid of this. Okay. Now I have mentioned I am going to implement nested groups, right? For that I am going to change this entire form. So I am going to create a new model. Okay. I can name it as gadget. Okay. So this is my new form model where I have three properties. Okay. Let's go to our index.razor page. What I will do is I am going to change this as not vehicle gadget. Okay. I want to make it as gadget options. Okay. Like laptop, mobile. Okay. For now, I have two devices. For suppose I have two devices. Now let's update our form also. Here I am going to use gadget. Okay. Here I am going to define gadget. I'm going to bind with property device. Okay. This will be my gadgets option. And here I want to see gadget and device. So let's check this initial setup. Okay, it is saved. Okay. I have okay, let me change this as well. Okay. Now let's check our output. So this is working fine. Now I am going to create a nested components. Sorry, nested input radio group. For that, I'm going to write like select your specs. Here I am going to give input radio group. Okay, this is my top level radio group. I want to bind it with RAM space. Okay, this radio button listens for this property, and I want to render one more nested input radio group. Okay, for this I am going to bind the property color. Inside of this, I need to specify all the groups, uh, sorry, all the options that are relevant to this radio groups. So let me create input radio. Value. Since I want to render a simple string, I will use like this C# notation. And value 4 GB. So this is the option, right? We need to match this option belong to which group? Like it belongs to color group or RAM space. For that, we can use one notation called name input attribute. If you type name, you can get component input value. I can name it as RAM. So same name should be given to child also RAM. Okay. So this radio button belongs to this RAM group. Okay. Let's copy this. Now I want to give color. Color is like blue, blue. Okay. Now I want to map this radio group to input radio group. For that, we need to specify name here. I will name it as color. Here I am going to give same name, color. So these will comes under this color group. Okay. Similarly, let me create two more options. Let's get a line break here. I am going to create 12 GB red and red. Let's also check the selected specs. RAM, RAM space, color, color space. Okay, let's save and check our output. See, now what I have. Okay, let me check my mobile and okay, let me change to 12 GB. I'm selecting mobile. Mobile is selected. Either I can select 4 GB or 12 GB. I am selecting 4 GB. This records for RAM group. Okay. If you select 4, it automatically deselect the previous selection. This is the radio group functionality. Grouping, right? So I want to select 12 GB and color I want to select blue. See, this is also radio group, but it is color radio group. Okay. See, this is how we can build the nested group input radio group component. Okay. And finally, I want to mention about uh, form validation also. This input radio group button also supports the form validations. So what I will do is I will just add a required form validation on RAM space. So see data annotation validation. These are nothing new. I will mention error message like hey, RAM should be selected. Okay. I have added model validation. Now in index.treasure page for enabling the form validations, we have to import default components like data annotation validator. This will enable the validations. If we didn't add this component, our form will not execute or check against the validations. So it is mandatory to add this component inside of our edit form. And to display our validation summary, we have another default component like, so this will render the summary of my error message. So to trigger, we need to create an input button. To trigger validations, we should have an input button. Okay. And the type should be submit. Okay, let's check our output. Now I am going to submit the form without selecting the RAM. So we have added already validations on RAM property, right? See, you should select RAM property. If I select RAM property, automatically validation will be cleared. Okay, this is basic validation, right? Using enums, we can also do range validation on this input radio group button. For that, what I will do, go to gadgets. Let me create a simple enum like device type. Okay, device type. I want to mention devices like laptop, mobile, iPad, smartwatch. And lastly, I want to mention unknown. Okay, these are all my options of to my devices. So let's read our radio options to be taken from the enum. Let's go to our index.razor page. Here what I will do, enum, get values, type of, in this type we need to pass our enum type. Okay, and that's going to return array of device type enum. Okay, and it should be values, and we can remove this options. I think let's check how it will react. See, now I have successfully read all the properties from the enum. Where is it? This enum. And those all properties are rendered here. First time clicking, I'm seeing one weird issue here. Radio is not selecting. Why? I think it should be device type. Enum, right? We are binding enum value. So let's check again. See, now I am able to select radio also. Okay. Here it should be device type. Now I want to, what I will do, I want to enable a range validation here. For that, what I will do here, I'm going to use range attribute, and I need to specify which type we are doing the range, that is device type enum, and also on which properties we should give the from my range is the radio button should always be selected from laptop to smartwatch only. If we selected unknown radio option, it should throw some error. For that, I need to specify the names for the beginning and endings from the enum type. So device type dot laptop, and specifying the range here by using the names of device type dot smartwatch. And finally, I want to give some custom error. Device can't be unknown. Okay, let's save and check our validation. Okay, it's running. Yes, it is. We are getting some error. Sorry, it is not device type here. Now save again. Yes, it is running up successfully. Let's reload. Okay, now I am selecting unknown and submitting form. Some issue. Uh, Here my error. Laptop is not a valid data type. Laptop is not a valid. Let's check. Okay. Sorry. Again mistake. Here it should be device type. I have given wrong type. Now it should work. Okay, no errors in console. Let's check iPad. Yes, no errors. Okay, now it is working. Now let me check unknown. See, unknown should not be selected. Okay, so from this we can understand we also can apply range attribute on the device type using the enum. So that's all about the new input radio group button that was introduced from the .NET 5. I hope this video has delivered some useful information. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. We will meet you again with new video. Until then, signing off.